Good morning, fifth grade reading detectives. This is Mrs. Holman again, and we are going to be looking at making inferences and drawing conclusions. I'm sharing my screen. I happen to be a little sad today just because it's our last day, and I have truly enjoyed spending some time with you and getting to know you. So I'm just going through our PowerPoint and getting to where we're going to start today. And so we're starting today with a little video just to remind us of what making inferences and drawing conclusions is.
All right, you guys, pull over. That's the bank's money right there. I caught you red-handed. You're going to spend a long time behind bars.
Cut! You're not going to jail. That's not in the script.
Are you serious?
Check it out. First, you leap onto their car and yell, "All right, you guys, pull over." And then you say, "That's the bank's money right there." Then I caught you red-handed. Then nothing. See, there is no line about.
So let's just have a quick conversation. Why did he change the lines? So let's make a quick inference here, and they're going to talk about it a little bit later. But if you see someone running out of a bank and they are getting into a car and they're going away really, really fast, can you infer that they possibly can go to jail? I want you to think about that, reading detectives, as we
spending
finish.
time behind bars.
I guess I made an inference. I mean, look. The alarm is going off at the bank. They're running from the police. And they have bags of cash from the bank in the car. I made an inference that they were going to jail because of what they did.
You made an inference? What on earth are you talking about?
Well, I read the text. I thought about what I know, and so I made an inference.
Oh, now I get it. Of course. In real life, they'd have to be arrested and charged. And there'd be a trial and lawyers. And before we knew for sure, they were going to jail.
What if I say, you guys are going to need a good lawyer?
Yes, that works for me. All right, everyone. We'll do it again.
So what just happened here? He made an inference when he went on ahead and thought about what had just happened with the police station, or the police, and chasing the robbers, and so that's what he did. However, this is a script. They are acting. And so again, remember how we've talked about, just like our learning objectives say, I can make an inference and draw conclusions based on what I already know, our background knowledge, and evidence from the text. Well, the text can be a story, it can be a novel, it could be a script from a movie, as we just saw them practicing through their script. And again, what you already know is your background knowledge. So in that video, he was able to use his background knowledge of, okay, if he's seeing people who have stolen something will go to jail. And so he put that with the evidence from the script to make his inference and change the script, of which the director wasn't happy at first, but once she understood where he was going, she got it. So that was just a quick example of our learning objective this week. So moving ahead, remember you need to have your handy dandy anchor chart. That is our playbook for reading detectives. Please have it near you. And again, drawing conclusion, making inferences means to make an educated guess. Authors don't always explain everything that happens. Readers use clues to figure out what is not said. It is really, really important that we already know about, that we use what we already know, plus the details you read in the story to get our conclusion and inference. All right, so we have been gradually building on making inferences and drawing conclusions. We've looked at pictures, we've looked at small snapshot warm-ups, we've looked at a fictional text, we've looked at a non-fictional text. So let's just go back to our practice activity from yesterday evening that you did on Wild Wild Weather and see what you came up with. So we're going to go right to the questions. It says, what information does the map show? And so the map, it tells you right here that the map actually shows you different areas where the tornado alley is. So that's the tornado alley, and it tells you in the text. What does the diagram show? Right here, the diagram shows the different types or the different pieces to a tornado funnel. So that's what the diagram shows you. And what information can you gather from the caption under the picture? Right here, usually a tornado is in the form of a funnel shape. Sometimes it looks like a rope. So do tornadoes all look the same? No, they look differently. And then you completed your chart with the different things with a tornado and a water spout. And why does the author use headings in the nonfiction text? Well, they tell you that text features help readers navigate the text. So my inference to you is wild, wild weather, right? Can you infer, what can you infer about what the author wants you to get out of this piece of text? So they gave you the headers, you answered these questions, they gave you pictures. Why does the author want you to read this? What's the inference? Well, my inference would be to give you some information of different types of storms and different types of wild weather. Why? Because they detail the different types of weather, they tell you where it is, they give you descriptions of that, and the more informed you are, the better you are. And remember, I'm scrolling up and down, but I'm going back up to the top. This is a nonfiction text. So that means this is real. So the stuff that you read about is actually stuff that can really happen. So those are an example. And the reason why I gave this to you was, one, so that you could just get some information on weather, but also to try to think about why would the author have you read this? All right, so make sure you have your pen or paper out. We're going to do an inference activity for us in a second. But first, we're going to look at another video of drawing conclusions and making inferences, okay?
Grammarly does more.
And we have to get through, we got to skip. All right. So Bigger Than Alexander is a book. I want you to take a look. All right, so far it's just pictures and a few words, but Alexander you saw as a part of the class, he has friends, and then he gets too big for the class and he has to leave. Can you, using the pictures in the text, what is Alex feeling right now? What would be your conclusion or your inference about what Alex is feeling about leaving his classmates? And if you said he's probably sad, that would be, I think, correct, because right here, when we stop, you see Alex is saying goodbye. His friend's eyes are really wide, so it doesn't look like they're happy to see him go, but also Alex looks like he's crying. So let's keep on going. Again, as a reading detective, we're always drawing conclusions or making inferences as we're reading or as we're looking at things to figure out what's happening next. All right, so what do we think is happening? So the class misses him, the teacher misses him. It says that in the text. They go to be with him. So now, what do you think, using clues from the illustrations and text, let's keep going. Go ahead and make sure you're thinking, what is your inference? What are your connections? Maybe questions that you want to ask to dig into the clues. So let's stop here. What do you infer? So I'm going to say, right before it stopped, we saw Alex reaching for something, and it looked like a balloon. Do you think, my inference would be the class missed him, they wanted to be with him, so they took the class to him, so they seemed really, really happy to be with him, and there looks like there might be a little balloon. My experience would say, when it's something like that is happening and I see a balloon, I automatically think party. So I'm thinking my inference is what's bigger than him is the party that they're about to throw. What about you? Do you have another inference? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I want you to just think about an inference that you may have. And we're going to go back to our activities. All right, so I am actually going to stop the share right now. I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about what we've done so far, right? What have we done so far that we have to think about our inferences and conclusions. How do we make them? What do we do to make them? What questions do we ask? And so now we're going to do a sort activity right here with inferences, and you have 4 different cards. So I am actually not going to talk through. I want you to go ahead and look at 13, 14, 15, and 16, and go ahead and take your pencil and paper out, get your handy dandy anchor chart out, and I want you to go ahead and look at each of these and go ahead and come up with your own inferences. So go ahead and pause me, and then we're going to come back. Okay? All right, you're back. So 5th graders, you can read. I know I've done some reading, but you can read yourself. And so for 13, it says, where was the family going and what makes you think so? And so when Ms. Holman read this, I started thinking about, okay, sandwiches in a basket, they have a checkered blanket, and they take a Frisbee. So we have to be in an open space for a Frisbee for us to throw. We have a basket of food and we have a blanket to sit on. And so I would think that we are going to a park to have a picnic. And the reason why is because of the evidence in the text and what I thought. Is that close to what you were thinking? Now, number 14 says, what were Edward and Jacob doing? And so this one, I thought, oh, wow, this is something I probably should be doing, right? So Edward was running as fast as he could. He's running, but Jacob is catching up on him. He can hear his footsteps, and what ends up happening? Jacob passed him. And then they get to this old oak tree in front of the school, and they both collapse because they've been running so fast. So what were they doing? I think they were racing. And why? Just because of what the text says. The evidence says they're running so fast. Edward is literally listening and hearing Jacob's footsteps, and Jacob passed him, but Edward is running his little heart out. So they're racing. And then number 15, what did Jake have? So what did Jake have? They said quietly, suddenly the pole Jake had jerks, and he yells, I got one, and he reels it in. So here's something about Mrs. Holman. I grew up with my grandmother, and she loved to go fishing. And so my experience is sitting at a lake with a fishing pole, and I throw it out, and we sit there, and then we have to reel it in when we think we have a fish. So I think that they're fishing, one because of the text, but then the other because of my own background knowledge. And then finally, number 16, Callie picked herself off the pavement, and it says, why was Callie even on the pavement? So it says that she picks herself up. She realizes there's no blood, no broken bones. Luckily she has on pads and a helmet, but what does Callie have? She has a skateboard. So my inference is that Callie fell off her skateboard. And so how do I know? Because it says she checked for blood and nothing was broken. And luckily she had on a helmet. So when you're thinking of inferences, again, always remember that we need to use our text evidence or evidence from the picture and our background knowledge, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and go back to the end of our PowerPoint. And so I thank you for being with me today. We have done quite a bit of work. And so again, we are reading like a detective. We are looking for clues, we're answering and asking questions, we're making our case, and again, we have to prove it. How do you prove it? Evidence. So always remember our learning target, which is I can make inferences and draw conclusions, and that's based on my experiences and my background knowledge, what I already know, and then evidence from the text or picture. Again, what is a reading detective, and why have we done this all week? Why is it important that you know what inferences and drawing conclusions are? I want you to put your reading cap on, your reading detective cap on. Does the author always tell you everything that you need to know from a text? No. Can you look at a piece of art and know exactly what the artist wanted you to feel? No. You have to use clues, and you have to use evidence from the medium, and medium being, is it text or is it a piece of art? Is it a picture? So those different mediums, you have to use the clues and evidence from that, plus your own background knowledge, and then it gives you more information about it. So that's why we've been doing this, and that's why we've been doing it all week. So while this is my last activity with you, and this is my last day, I do have an activity for you, and I have put it in the PowerPoint. I would love for you to send me your activity if you get a chance to do it. I would love to see it, so my email is down there. But please go ahead and make sure you do it and show it to a family member. So let's go ahead and look at the final activity, and that is you are making a comic strip. And so I gave you an example here. It says, Odie is climbing a tree, thud, thud. And needless to say, dogs aren't really good at that, thud. All right, so what is Odie? What evidence helped you infer that, helped your inference? And so, observations, your evidence from the comic strip, he's trying to climb a tree but falls. Garfield says dogs aren't really good at that. What I already know, dogs can't climb, Odie is a dog. And then that's the example. So your reading detective, your comic book creation is, you're gonna either create a comic strip of 3, 4, or 5 strips. So you get to decide, whichever one you decide, go ahead and delete the other 2. You're gonna come up with an inference question, just like the example, and someone is going to have to fill it out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. So at this time, 5th grade detectives, it has been a pleasure working with you for the last couple of days. Have a great rest of your summer. Be creative, do lots and lots of reading, and don't forget to keep your reading detective hat on at all times. Have a great rest of your day.